refers to a complete sentence. The simplest clause consists of a subject and a verb. She reads. Here she is the subject and reads is the verb. She reads a book. This is another clause. And here we've got some more information, which is a book. Book is the object. Here the pattern is the subject, verb and the object. Now there are two different kinds of clauses that happen in a sentence. The first is the main clause and the subordinate clause. The main clause is the clause that can stand independently, whereas the subordinate clause refers to the clause that is dependent on the main clause. She wore a raincoat whenever there was rain. She wore a raincoat is the main clause. This part of the sentence can stand independently. Hence, you can say it is the main clause. Whereas the rest of the sentence can be referred to as the subordinate clause, whenever there was rain. Now, this part of the sentence cannot stand independently. It does not make any sense if you just say, whenever there was rain. Now, it does not give us any information. It does not give us the complete information. Therefore, this clause is referred to as the subordinate clause. It is dependent on the main clause. We have just had a review on the main and the subordinate clauses. Now, let us learn about embedded clauses. Embedded clauses is also known as a subordinate clause. But the embedded clause is a subordinate clause that comes in the middle of a sentence. Pearlie baked a cake. This is a clause. If I say, Pearlie, who lives next door, baked a cake. So over here, this sentence looks more interesting. It is giving us more detail and information about the person named Pearlie. So now I have inserted another clause in the main clause, which is Pearlie and then who lives next door. Who lives next door is referred to as the embedded clause because I have embedded this clause within the main clause, which is Pearlie baked a cake. Since this clause comes in the middle of a sentence, you'll say that it is the embedded clause. The lamp shone brightly. This is an example of a clause. We've got the subject, the lamp, shone is the verb, and brightly is the complement of the sentence. Now that we have got a complete clause, let us give some more detail. So to give that detail, we add an embedded clause to this main clause. You can say the lamp, when it was switched on, shone brightly. So here, when it was switched on will be referred to as the embedded clause.
Did you see Marvin? Interrogative clause.
Did you see Marvin? Now, this is an example of a clause in the interrogative form. We've got the subject you, see is a verb and Marvin is the object.
Marvin went to play after he reached from school.
Main clause and subordinate clause.
Went to play is the main clause. After he reached from school is the subordinate clause as it is dependent on the main clause. Marvin went to play after he reached from school. Now in this sentence, can you identify the main and the subordinate clauses? Marvin, when I just rephrase the sentence as Marvin, after he reached from school, went to play. Now in this sentence, I've placed after he reached from school in the middle of the main clause. So here, this clause is referred to as the embedded clause.
As long as his homework is complete, he can play. Subordinate clause at beginning of sentence.
He can play as long as his homework is complete. So he can play is the main clause and as long as his homework is complete is the subordinate clause in this sentence. How do we convert this sentence into an embedded clause? You can just write he, as long as his homework is complete, can play. As long as his homework is complete will act as the embedded clause. He can play is the main clause in this sentence.
The homework. that the teacher gave is already completed.
Embedded clause.
The homework the teacher gave is already complete. Here, the embedded clause is the teacher gave. There is a subject and a verb, which is teacher is a subject and the verb is gave. And the main clause here is the homework is complete. So the embedded clause gives us more information, which is the homework was given by the teacher.